My name is Carrie Walker, and I will be presenting a brief presentation on how exercise improves our brain. Please keep in mind that the information contained in this presentation is designed for educational purposes only and should never be a substitute for advice from your own healthcare professional. Physical activity can help you think, learn, problem solve, and enjoy a more emotionally balanced life. It can improve memory and reduce anxiety or depression. It can also reduce your risk of cognitive decline, including dementia. One study found that cognitive decline is almost twice as common among adults who are inactive compared to those who are active. Most of us have heard this before, but have not necessarily been motivated to change our exercise patterns, either to continue them or to start them. So I thought I would create a presentation that would delve a little deeper in terms of educating you on how exercise changes the structure of your brain, in hopes that it may provide a little bit more motivation to stick to an exercise routine. Some of the ways that exercise impacts the structure of the brain includes increasing its volume. Exercise increases production of proteins in the brain that stimulate new brain cell growth. It increases new blood vessels in the brain, strengthens neural pathways. Exercise decreases insulin resistance and inflammation in the brain. It boosts production of something called endocannabinoids naturally in our body, and that helps reduce stress and anxiety. And lastly, it increases serotonin and dopamine levels in the brain. In the upcoming slides, we'll dive deeper into each of these bullet points. Also, although some of the terms I may use sound technical, I'm going to do my very best to explain them in a way that you'll understand. Exercise has been shown to prevent the loss of total brain volume, which can lead to lower cognitive or mental function. Research shows that exercise prevents shrinkage in the hippocampus. The hippocampus is a specific part of the brain that controls learning and memory, and it's essential for improving mental awareness. As you can see from looking at the graph above, overall, an increase in the amount of time spent exercising corresponds to an increase in the volume of the hippocampus. Exercise increases the production of a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. The root word tropic means protective, so neurotropic means protective of neurons. This brain-derived neurotrophic factor is abbreviated as BDNF. BDNF promotes the birth of new brain cells throughout our entire adulthood. Many years ago, it was thought that once you lost a brain cell, that was it. You were out of luck. So you better protect those brain cells as best as you can. It's still good. It's still a good philosophy to try to protect them as well as you can. But new research shows that we do have the ability to grow new brain cells. However, this is only found in specific areas of the brain. The good news is that one of the areas of the brain that's responsive to the new cell growth is the hippocampus, which I mentioned in the previous slide, controls learning and memory. Not only does this BDNF encourage new neurons to grow, it also improves the function of existing nerve cells and protects them from stress and cell death. New brain tissue requires increased blood flow in order to bring a necessary flow of oxygen and nutrients. Exercise improves the health and function of the heart and existing blood vessels, ensuring that brain tissue consistently receives adequate blood flow to meet its needs and improve function. Potential improvements with this added vascularity in the brain include improvements in working and short-term memory, more flexible thinking, planning, and self-control. Remember that a stronger heart also helps to reduce high blood pressure and lower the risk of stroke. Exercise also increases the use of different neural pathways or connections in the brain. Although the brain is not a muscle, it acts like one. The more these pathways are used, the stronger they become. This improves the health and function of synapses or junctions between the nerve cells, allowing them to better communicate. Conversely, connections in the brain that aren't used as often become weak and brain cells don't communicate as well, and shrinkage can occur. The brain uses 1/2 of all the energy in the body from our glucose or blood sugar to cover its energy needs for thinking, memory, and learning. In order to access the sugar, all of the cells in our body rely on insulin, which is released from the pancreas when the pancreas senses a rise in blood sugar from our food. Insulin is like a key that allows cells to access this blood sugar, kind of opening the cell doorway. Brain cells can become resistant to this insulin key when high amounts of carbohydrates and sugar are consumed. When this happens, they are unable to access their fuel source, and problems with short-term memory, attention, and processing can occur. The good news is that exercise reduces this insulin resistance so that brain cells can then access their fuel sources more readily from carbohydrates and reduce brain fog. Much of your body's immune system is contained in your gut or intestine. The whole topic of the brain-gut connection is a hot one these days. You want to think of the healthy gut bacteria in your intestines as a natural defense that protects against any toxins seeping out of our intestine that shouldn't and causing brain fog or inflammation. The good news is that regular exercise can reduce any inflammation that might be there and reverse the brain fog. Exercise boosts the production of something called endocannabinoids in the brain. The endocannabinoid system is a complex network of receptors and signaling molecules that wasn't even known quite a few years ago. Two of the most commonly known endocannabinoids that you hear of in the news are THC and CBD. If you look at the chart here, you will see CB1 receptors and CB2 receptor locations in the body. And when the molecules called endocannabinoids bond to the receptors in these areas, certain things can occur, like the reduction of pain or a feeling of well-being. Well, it was initially thought that when you exercised, it was the production of endorphins that led to that feeling of runner's high or euphoria. Now it's understood that it's actually the production of chemicals, the endocannabinoids, that are contributing to this feeling, not endorphins. Rigorous exercise boosts endocannabinoid levels naturally in our body. Areas of the brain that regulate stress and emotion are covered with receptors for these endocannabinoids. So therefore, when the endocannabinoids produced from exercise lock onto these receptors in the brain, they will then reduce the anxiety, creating a feeling of contentment. As you begin exercising, depending on the intensity, a number of important chemical messengers called neurotransmitters are released throughout your nervous system. Nerve cells use these neurotransmitters to talk to each other. A couple of these that you might recognize by name are serotonin and dopamine. When serotonin is at normal levels in your body, you feel more focused, emotionally stable, happier, and calmer. Low levels of serotonin are then associated with depression and anxiety. Many medications used to treat anxiety, depression, and other mood disorders often target ways to increase the levels of serotonin in your brain. So why not help your body increase the serotonin's levels naturally with exercise? Dopamine plays an important role in how you feel pleasure. It's responsible for other processes in your body, such as regulating your heart rate, sleep cycles, mood, attention and motivation, working memory, and pain processing. Exercise improves and helps regulate both of these neurotransmitters or messengers, ultimately helping us feel mentally much happier. So, considering all the ways that exercise positively changes the structure of our brain, it's a good idea to figure out how you might be able to incorporate more into your lifestyle if you're not currently doing so. Physical exercise improves the brain and its function by strengthening existing nervous and vascular tissue in the brain, as well as by stimulating the production of new tissue through a variety of ways. It is my hope that you will use this information as motivation to either begin or maintain a regular physical activity program. For most benefit, adults need at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity weekly, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity. One literature review noted that exercise, particularly a combination of strength and cardiovascular exercise, at least 3 times a week, is the best intervention for reducing systemic inflammation and the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Different forms of exercise stimulate different parts of the brain and different pathways, so it's encouraged to change up your workout periodically and try new activities to maximize the strengthening of the neural pathways. As always, before you begin or change part of your normal workout program, it's best to consult with your healthcare practitioner to make sure they're on board and are aware of any changes that you're making. I hope that you have found this presentation interesting and look forward to talking with you in the future. Take care.